We were actually sent this book by an agent right here in London, Jenny Casarato and Charlotte Kelly, in a manuscript form, and we read it, and initially, we loved it, but thought it would be a book that Alexander and Jim Taylor and I would find some writers to write and adapt it for us to produce. And so we went along that path for a couple of years while Alexander was writing another screenplay. And it just, the movie started to come together so well. And I'd say I coaxed you, Alexander, into directing it over a period of time.
You kept it alive. You kept
it alive.
Another director was flirting with the idea of making it, and then he dropped out when he had a conflict, and then the timing was right, and then I jumped in and picked up the pen in July of '09.
Right.
First, you have a really good script that does all of those things for you, and then you have one of the best directors in the business sort of handling that. So you just kind of put yourself in his hands and go, too much, 15% less existential realism, and then you back it off. He really takes care of all of that, I think. What do you think?
It's all Alexander. At least for me, anyways. I haven't had much experience on many films, and I just trusted him. I think we all did. Just put our trust in him.
And I picked the right actors. It's tough to cast young people. It's tough to cast anyone, but it's tough to cast young people. The ones who have a lot of experience often don't read, at least to my eye, as being the age that I want them to be, or in fact, the age that they actually are. I can't tell you how many girls her age I read who had a lot of experience, who were 17 going on 35. And I had some experience with that, casting Election, a high school movie 10 years previous. But I wanted someone who had, like a young Deborah Winger, great fire and great vulnerability. And Shailene came in on an audition in December of '09 in New York, and I knew 2 minutes into her reading that it was going to be she. She just knocked my socks off. And I didn't have an also-ran. I didn't have a second choice.
Working with George and Alexander, who are two of the greatest men I've ever met in my life. I think the thing that they both brought to set, which a lot of people don't, and I am forever grateful for, is gratitude. They were both just as grateful to be there as all of us other actors, as all the crew members, as the transportation, local guys. Everyone was grateful to be there, and the set was so comfortable too. There wasn't an intimidation factor working with George Clooney. He's so down to earth and humble that you don't feel like you're working with someone who is above you in any way or better than you. You feel like you're working with someone who's just as grateful to be in that situation as you are, and that's rare to find. Whether you are at where George Clooney is and how many movies he's done, or whether you've done no movies, like Amara Miller, who is in the film, who plays Scotty. And Alexander, he gives you the time and the freedom to do what you want to do as an actor, and if it's working, he actually tells you it's working, which is really nice. And if it's not working, then he'll come up and he'll politely suggest other ways to maybe approach it. And yeah, I'm just so grateful for the opportunity.
I don't really separate them very much in my mind in writing and directing, and rather than seeing them as two different tones, if you will, I think I'd like my films to have just a single thicker tone, which includes both the sad or the tragic, the pathetic, or that which has pathos, and the funny. I think it's all of one. It's all one thing, just a bigger bandwidth of emotion and tone, like life, like real life. And, well, certainly, though, in editing, and I spent a lot of time editing, this film was 9 months from start to finish, from the beginning of editing to the ending of the sound mix. A lot of the calibration of that tone is done there. I think on the set, we harvest a lot of different things, and then the editor and I work a lot to make sure it's all part of the same movie.